Yeah, I think it's massive props to them, particularly after the performances in Charlotte where they had a sub and they might have been thinking, oh, here we go again. But here we go again, we actually get some gameplay now. So shields up, weapons hot, I won't say it as loud, but people, we have some gameplay here.
Here we go then, and let's hope it's all a smooth ride from here onward. Space Station versus Optic Gaming. Winners go into the winners final and will face FaZe, as the losers will head down into that elimination bracket. Early stages, it's trade for trade at the moment. Neither team able to get their hands on the ball just yet.
All tied up, honors even. No hands on ball. A little bit cagey, trying to control power weapons. Optic Formal with the double kill, heatwave, sniper rifle combination in his pocket as well. Looked as though he wanted to pick up the ball. He's getting a bit greedy.
Just wanted everything in his pocket, did Formal, but it's currently a little bit of a goose chase, as Eco also having a battle, did get his hands on that overshield. So Space Station got the overshield, Optic get the sniper rifle. Thankfully, they have depleted said overshield, so Eco now has to rethink, wait for the team to come up. They've got the ball over towards tower, and they will have the first chance to set up here.
Eco tries to get the sticky grenade. Swing and a miss this time. StelluR has them on strings, bringing the ball back up through cuts and perhaps trying to isolate a couple of players, but Formal's in no mood to have a conversation. It's heatwave and a back whack and another double kill. That's back-to-back double kills for Formal.
Oh, and he just ran out of ammo there, otherwise that could have been Eco Smith getting a headshot for a triple. But Eco's done very well just to push up pressure in the right areas, as now Space Station looking to try and reclaim this ball. But all the meanwhile, APG kind of stole it from right under their nose and now has retreated over towards house. We've got to really keep a keen eye on the players that have been the objective players to focus on for both of these squads. TriPPPeY and Pznguin have been the standouts throughout this tournament. At the moment, TriPPPeY 0-3, but does have assists. And Pznguin has been one of the most amazing objective players we've seen for the last few years in the HCS, so I'm not surprised by that statistic.
Back on board with Formal. Ball has been scooped up again. SSG doing a really good job of just scrapping ball time, getting seconds here and seconds there, but they have sacrificed and forfeited the overshield once more, but 2 kills go in the favour of SSG. They have ball over towards green, so the option to play if Pznguin should desire. Eco heading over towards Big Door is going to eat a massive grenade from Formal. That's not in the dietary plan. That's an allergic reaction as he gets taken down. APG elsewhere gets one, but the ball has been played.
A good amount of time, though, from SSG to be able to kind of rescue that ball and then go for the poor man setup over towards green. Optic very quickly recognising that they have to get there to bottom middle, though, to pick up some easy time. I think that both teams need to be getting that scrappy time as they go through this game, because setups are not going to be easy against either of these squads. They're both very good at puncturing any sort of setup you try and go for.
TriPPPeY was faced with 2 members of SSG and threw a melee, but it didn't connect. Nothing but air this time, but the heatwave's going to be cooking again. And who else but Formal once more? Both members of Optic huddled up in a corner, crouching down, trying to avoid grenades, doing so successfully. Now back up to full health. They're moving, they're grooving. Bound picks up the sniper rifle, tries to run away, but Formal, he's in hot pursuit, and he will go down. They will get ball, they will have heatwave and sniper rifle.
I think SSG are going to be having nightmares tonight about Formal just chasing them with a heatwave. It seems like every corner they turn, he's there waiting just to drill them in the back. Because of that, he's been rewarded with a bit of ball time. As the heatwave outruns out of ammo, but that's the painful thing about the heatwave, is when it does get depleted, the switch maybe takes a little bit too long, and it means that Optic will have to just give up this ball for now. So Space Station again will just be holding up a setup on the fly. It's not going to be anything too structured, but Pznguin, being Pznguin as he is an objective-minded player who always knows where to be putting that ball.
It's not often you see that on the National Geographic Channel, as a Pznguin picking up a ball and trying to get himself towards the water. It's usually an egg, but he's scoring points for his team. 45 to be exact, 27 on the side of Optic Gaming. Overshield about to pop up. It's a point of contention here now for TriPPPeY.
Oh,
he picks it up, he scoops
Oh,
it.
no.
Shroud screen comes through with the grenades and the battle rifle doing enough, but it's a slobber knocker. But just bodies hitting the floor, left, right and centre. Formal swinging for the wind, will not connect, gets taken care of.
And that's the thing about a shroud screen, is when it goes down, no one has a clue once you're inside it. It's just misty eyes and hoping you can swing and hit something, but in the end it's SSG who get their hands on that overshield. APG gets caught from behind as well, and Optic find themselves again 3 dead at the moment. Space Station leading in the sleighs, just need to find their way to turn this into a good amount of ball time, but they're also leading by about 13, make it 14.
Optic spawning over green, 2 members executing over towards Nest. Lucid spotted middle here now. Formal on C plat should be able to get a trade, and he does. He waved down over towards dummies. Bounds trying to put down some damage with the help of Ego. They pick up 2, 3 dead. for Optic Gaming and an opportunity here for even more ball time. Unless Formal can do something with the heat wave as he pumps shots left, right, and center of the pit, but Bound takes care of business.
How Formal constantly has that heat wave is beyond me. Seems like Space Station not really focusing on it at the moment. Instead, they're prioritizing just getting this ball, getting some time. Optic now leading in those slays. A double kill coming for APG as they can start to score. All 4 dead for SSG. So this is going to be Optic's best chance to get a true setup. They did have 1 on spawn, so it's going to have to be about quickly traversing the map to make sure you can assist the rest of the team as APG then makes the switch. He's going to be the one watching Big Door.
APG having a very impressive game thus far. Most ball time, 11 kills, 5 assists, and 8 deaths. Needs the rest of the team to work around him, work in tandem. 2 go down, Eco and Bound. APG will join. Grenades will hit the ground at the feet of StelluR, expertly placed by the superstar Lucid. Now he's got his eyes on Big Door and he's looking out towards green. Eco into the crosshairs, a couple of shots will take him down to what looks about 3 bursts of a battle rifle. And Pznguin will back him down, so it's very cagey, it's tit for tat at the moment. It's Optic Gaming who hold a slender lead.
Well, that was the best setup we've seen so far, but because the overshield has popped, it's giving SSG a chance to try and break this setup because Optic had to reassess what they wanted to focus on. Was it ball time? Was it the overshield? And they switched to that OV. It was StelluR who was able to pick it up in the end, and the ball was also just scrambled away. As someone gets sent through top middle, it just says, you know what, see you later, I don't fancy taking the fight. And at the moment, it's just a massive scrap jersey down at bottom middle. Space Station lose 3, but at least they got the ball out of the hands for Optic temporarily.
TriPPPeY got ball over towards green. Drops it off to Lucid. Plasma pistol will not connect. TriPPPeY's got sniper rifle as well, and we know how dangerous he can be. Absolutely lethal as he fires one over towards StelluR, but StelluR dips, dives, ducks, gets himself over towards C and tower. Pznguin, bottom middle, looking to connect with TriPPPeY, but he's defending green all by himself, all by his lonesome here, but cannot connect with those body shots. Misses once more, goes down. All 4 down for the green wall.
So it was one last desperate push from SSG, and it's worked out for them. 7 points remaining for Optic to take the first round. But SSG are going to get a true opportunity here at House. Now, what can they learn from Optic Gaming? They really allowed the overshield area to be empty, but APG's managed to crawl in behind and catch them unaware and can probably pick up some good time here.
How has APG managed to tiptoe his way in there to pick up the ball, secure the final points? Optic Gaming secure round 1.
Where on earth did APG come from? That's what SSG will be asking themselves. Clearly, there was one entrance that was not being watched, and APG sniffed it out and took full advantage. So Optic, they gained the lead. And I think what we learned from that first game is that if you are going to see Optic Gaming gather that ball over towards House and they get an all 4 dead, they're going to get a big, big chunk of time.
Numbers advantage was favouring Space Station, but that's no longer. APG trying to drive his team to victory here, along with Lucid, who's currently sitting at 17 kills, 11 deaths, 6 assists.
And he has been the standout player. Lucid has been dominant throughout this entire tournament, even in the series where they struggled. Lucid has still been the forefront of Optic Gaming when it comes to their slays, when it comes to his KD and the amount of damage he's putting out. Season MVP, of course, and just one of the best players in Halo Infinite. A lot would say he is the best player. And maybe he's going to prove just exactly why here in this series, as he seems to be continuing his fine form.
He has the accolades to prove he's the MVP for Season 1. Can he continue that here? Who can deny him? The form he's been in all tournament long. 2 down for SSG. 2 down for Optic. Ball, though, importantly in possession of Optic. APG tries to find a couple of body shots, can't connect. Battle Rifle won't be able to do enough damage to get the kill either. And just like that, 3 go down for the green wall, and SSG starting to find a bit of momentum.
Well, 3 go down, but Optic do have a significant lead here. It seems like a good time to jump into the comms. Let's see what the listening's like for Optic Gaming.
Above you, Joey. Drop the ball, drop the ball.
Absolute doubling, absolute.
Like 2 on
absolute
Joey.
bound,
One
absolute
shot
key door,
ball,
absolute key door.
No one on ball, no one there, no one there.
Right. Oh, West in 10, guys.
Hear that, hear
West in
that.
10.
Yo, on OV, free kill, OV. Tap shield on it.
Chow.
Nade him out. I needed that, I needed that.
Window.
Looking window.
Window, plus. Plus,
Oh, West is coming in 3 seconds, guys.
Door, key door, just live on the key door.
Pit 2 from Pit. One shot, one shot. 2 key door, rushing. We're trying to get the SOS.
One shot on it. On me, cuts, last guy.
On it.
Cuts him, maybe. Did we kill
We're
window?
here, we have a
Oh, last two there.
We have a lot of help. Just trying to
take
make
our time.
Both one cuts, both here, both one shot.
We go quick here. We try to go quick.
Cuts, guys, cuts kill me. Absolute. Nice.
You might need shots.
Absolute.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to get this. key door. Good fight.
Nice try. I have drink gun, guys.
Going cuts to the west, I believe.
Is it 100%?
Take your time.
Yeah,
Out green. Pillars weak.
Come back, Joey.
Gotta
Yo, I
reverse
spawn
it.
behind him. I spawn behind him. Yo, shoot pillar, shoot big door.
One shot, green, absolute penguin.
I'm behind him. I'm literally behind him. Literally behind him. Behind these guys.
Oh, we did. Last two back green. Both back green.
Dude, he's hiding. Two there.
Last two
Two
dead.
there. One more. Back green. Back green.
One shot on Brad.
Have shields.
One shot,
Nice
nice
try.
try.
One shot.
Nice try. Not getting much.
Communication composed. A couple of kills went their way as well, but SSG finding their footing in this game. 22 seconds of climbing, eating away at that deficit. All that hard work Optic Gaming had put together in the early round. Formal, eyes trained over top middle. He is also having a game to remember. 19 kills, 10 assists, 14 deaths.
18 of them with a heat wave as well.
Yeah.
That's just a joke, by the way. It's not actually true. He's got plenty with the battle rifle, but it does seem like he always had it in his hands. That listening, by the way, I love the genuine excitement when they get a spawn that's just a little bit off, saying, oh, spawn behind them, we've got a chance. You really have to make the most when they do happen. I think the most important thing was, though, getting the green gun onto the overshield, just to deplete that and make sure that there wasn't too many points scored by Space Station. They still find themselves a significant amount behind, but it can very quickly change if they get a setup.
They spoke about on the desk how good SSG are when it comes to time game modes, but it's Optic Gaming. And we're having the better of it here. Up by a round, and up by almost double the time.
Well, I think it's the fact that Optic are starting to really lead the charge with Slays now. 81 kills for them. It's only 69 on the other side for Space Station. And because of that, they've really struggled off spawn every single time. And now TriPPPeY's able to get the overshield and has the sniper rifle in hand, and they've got the ball. They're just piling on the misery here for SSG, who are slowly but surely letting this one slip through their fingers.
SSG just wilting under the pressure here. It's been relentless from Optic Gaming. Repulsor will send Lucid back, but keep him alive for now. He opts to turn his attentions towards the ball carrier instead. StelluR down to no shields. TriPPPeY on hand to get the kill. Top middle, the point of contention once more. Lucid should not be getting that kill, but he is, goddammit.
Again, incredible confidence from Lucid, not only to take that initial fight when he pushed round with the pistol, but knowing full well they had to win that engagement just to stop this ball time, and because of it, Optic are rewarded with yet more time of their own. SSG probably thought they were in the clear, were able to get away, as Lucid also uses every tool he can just to make sure he wins these engagements. He's all about utility, he's all about using that sandbox, and he is one of the best players that you'll see play this game.
This is when Optic Gaming are at their most frightening. Are they starting to find their final form here on Saturday? APG with ball in hand, top tower, only requiring 5 more seconds. Has a rotation on point if he needs it, milking the ball for all it's worth, and Optic Gaming will go up 1 in the series. Absolutely flawless at times.
Well, just like they did when they played against each other last online, it is Optic who win oddball live fire. It transitions nicely. It looked far smoother here, though, on LAN. They didn't really need the structured setups. They actually matched quite well with what you called SSG's organized chaos at times. As soon as they felt SSG were flying at them, they said, you know what, we can forget the ball for a second. Let's just take these fights. We're winning our individual battles. And they outslayed them by 20 kills in the end. And naturally, the ball time usually should follow. I know we occasionally see objective teams win games despite being outslayed, but that was not going to be the case, especially when Optic had that much control.
I still have one question that's remained unanswered.
What's that?
Where did APG come from?
I have no idea where he came from, honestly. He just appeared out of nowhere. A trapdoor, perhaps, that APG knows about that we do not. 26 kills, by the way, for Lucid in the end. 25 for APG, 25 for Formal. So they all were up there, absolutely smashing through SSG at times. And of course, TriPPPeY, as I said, has been one of the best objective players in the tournament so far, specifically on the Optic side. As for SSG, I think they'll look at that one as just chalk it off, forget about it. We can forget about it and not maybe focus on what went wrong, because I don't think SSG ever got going. A slow start, and this is something you were alluding to before the series started, because they haven't really faced anyone that's properly tested them yet. Were they going to be a bit slow? And maybe that's some evidence there.
The issue they had is Optic Gaming taking inspiration from Miley Cyrus. They came in like a wrecking ball. Came in swinging, taking the paint right off the SSG armor. They find themselves down with 1-0. Up next, StelluR Aquarius.
And StelluR Aquarius has been good for Optic so far this tournament. They've had 2 times playing it, and they've won it both times as well. And I think when you look at Optic's record and the fact they've lost 5 maps, as long as they can find a map whether they haven't lost it already, they're going to be fairly confident. You can see the KD for both players, Formal and Bound, and they were both big influences in that game, but also have been incredible this tournament. And you talk about the pressure that Bound's had to face, by the way, ever since joining this roster. Yeah. When Renegade initially left, there was big shoes to fill. I don't know what size shoes Renegade is, but I'm going to guess about a 9 or 10, which isn't that big, but...
No, that's a pretty average size, then.
For Bound, that's... Are you...
For size 15.
All right, relax. But Bound certainly did have big shoes to fill, and he has done so well indeed. He has really come into his own. I mean, maybe there was a couple of shaky performances during online tournaments, and even LAN, there's been here or there where perhaps he hasn't been at his full potential, but suddenly he's really showing us what he is made of and why he deserves a place on this team.
And you speak about players making a massive difference since their introduction to a team, who more so than Optic, bringing in that championship winning mentality, just shifting it. You can see the troubles that they had early on, particularly in Kansas City. And he was able to talk them around and say, listen, we are going to win a tournament. He was adamant he would win another tournament for Optic Gaming and indeed for Hex, but he done far more than that as he's knocking on the door for a 4P here and already claiming world championship status.
Aquarius StelluR, we're going to see 2 entirely different ways of playing this map as well. Optic, they really do like to gain a lead, set up and frustrate their opponents, whereas SSG like to press on their advantages. You'll often see members roaming around bottom middle. StelluR in particular loves to play that bottom middle role where he's just listening to call-outs, trying to finish off those one-shots and being a nuisance to the opposition team.
On board then with Formal. Tensions immediately go over towards bottom car. Bottom middle now. Transitioning, 2 members down for SSG. Looking to bait and switch with his teammate APG here, and if the gangster can live, that'll be all the well, but he couldn't. Oh, tried to play that one patient, but Eco gives him the wiggles. And the sure you can, and all but after that, it's a 2-kill lead for OG.
It's one of the frustrating things when the ammo does get depleted like that. You second guess yourself a little bit. Am I close enough for the lunge? Am I not? Are they going to be pushing towards for the lunge as well to get the trade? It's mind games at times here in Halo Infinite. 5-6, make it 6 all. So even though there was a hot start for Optic Gaming, Space Station have done very well to keep this close as TriPPPeY's camouflage eventually goes away.
You know, we've watched Formal on screen die 3 times, right? And 3 times he died was because he didn't have enough ammo in his gun. Put some bullets in the damn weapon.
It also shows that sometimes the only way to beat Formal is to take
all the bullets out.
Take all the bullets out of the gun, and maybe that's the key to success here for Space Station, is make sure he has no ammo. Make sure he's shooting across the map and depletes it himself. Lucid trying to stay alive, has the pistol in hand, does not do so. And Space Station now find themselves ahead. And now the scary thing for Optic Gaming is Space Station are a team who likes to collapse on bases, just as they are now. They sense there's 2 players, they are without their teammates, they have spawned separately, and they say, we need to hunt them down, we need to get this advantage. Now they kill 2, and suddenly they search for the remaining players.
They're going coast to coast. Bound, though, has been picked off. Penguin's got Heatwave now. Just waiting patiently, recognizing that numbers are not in their favor anymore and they cannot carry on with the relentless pressure they were trying to put on. They cannot collapse in the base. They have to hold the 50-yard line. Here comes the push, but TriPPPeY somehow, some way finds a way to survive.
How on earth did those Heatwave bullets miss? How on earth did he win that fight? Find out next time. But at 13-14, it's really just a game of nerves at the moment. Both teams are hesitant to be too aggressive because you don't want to give too much of an advantage, but look at all the SSG players just collapsed in one building. Or one area of this building, should I say. And Optic not really able to take advantage of it either because the firepower we're seeing from SSG, they are targeting every single individual correctly. They are making sure they're on the same focus right now. The team shot's incredible.
All members of SSG seem to be pointing at the same targets. StelluR has to reload, and that's going to be another death in his column. TriPPPeY's got Heatwave, 2 bullets to play with. As he now pushes Yellow Engine, gets shot in the back down to half shields. That information will be passed over to his teammates. He's claimed Yellow base, looks forward towards Blue. 2 Heatwave shots get fired off. One of them connects with his own legs. That makes it a far easier kill for Eco than it perhaps would have been had those shots not been fired backwards. Sometimes that Heatwave can act like a boomerang.
And these games must be so hard to judge for those players who are making the calls, the likes of Eco, when you have a 3-kill lead and you're just wondering what have Optic got up their sleeve, what is next for Optic Gaming? How many times have we seen Optic 4 or 5 kills behind and then suddenly flip the map and get 4 or 5 kills in a row and then have the advantage, have the structure, have the setup? But speaking of Eco, he's just picked up a big double, which now SSG can press their advantage once more.
Eco and StelluR driving forward here, 7 and 9 kills respectively here. A 5-kill advantage. TriPPPeY, front base, trying to get his hands on the thruster pack. He did, but it cost him his life. StelluR tries to build on his momentum, but just like that, shut down. Camouflage. About to pop up out of the oven. Tasty treat for anybody that can get their hands on it, but perhaps be used as bait for the moment. Bound with the use of the sidekick. Will eliminate APG. Optic in big trouble here, getting collapsed on once more. Thruster pack will not be enough to get TriPPPeY out of dodge. Camouflage will pop up, and it looks as though SSG in the right place to scoop it up.
Oh, you speak of tasty treats. Do you know what's a tasty treat for everyone here?
Tell me.
A listening with Space Station.
I can't do anything. I can't do anything about that.
Spawn pizza. Or spawn blue.
It's sticky. Card 3.
Don't
card
get left
3.
out, dude. Don't get left out.
Yep. You know where I am.
No. I didn't lose cards.
You guys are double bridge. That's fine. You guys need to both hide low key. It's P2 with camo. Blue side. My closet as well, I think. You're dead.
Watch it.
No, I'm good.
Shot
Shot P2 on the nades.
I go low. P1 more shot. P1 weak. Go from blue. Trying to kill.
Triangle. Triangle, one shot on me. We got triangle to make.
Guys going card 2 right away.
Blue thrust is up in 3 seconds.
They have it. They just fixed up. Once card 2, P2. We should go P2. It should be. It's 2 shots on. Brandon. To your right. Shot P1.
Everyone.
R2 as well.
Above you. And from blue.
Okay, he jumps. P jump. Blue P jump. P2. 2 P2. Lucid P2.
One shot P2.
One shot blue bridge.
One shot blue.
Yeah, I see that.
Two blue first. Both quick.
Lucid was one, guys.
Blue first.
I died for yellow P1.
Both weak.
Okay.
Get in the closet.
Spawn car with you. Come here.
Getting at him. Car 1, dude. I'm going yellow for closet.
Yeah.
Comms. They were collected and they were calm. We expect nothing less. The issue is they now find themselves all tied up. That lead they had built at 6-kill advantage has completely evaporated. What is TriPPPeY doing? That man's on a madness.
I mean, it's great that SSG don't worry when they've just given up 5 to 6 kills in a row, as we heard in the comms. It is calm, but at the same time, you want a little bit of urgency at the same time. Otherwise, Optic will really just run a train through you. Next camo's up. TriPPPeY had eyes on it, but wants to try and focus over towards the Dynamos first, as APG and StelluR had a little bit of a battle.
TriPPPeY absolutely loves Slayer Aquarius. We've seen him dismantle FaZe at Charlotte. Has intentions of doing the same thing here. Break SSG hearts. And Eco could be his latest victim. Wisely backs away. Waits for his teammates, recognizing that he did not hold the advantage.
And at the moment, Optic quite spread across Aquarius, and they're not really playing with the same structure that we've seen before, and perhaps playing SSG's game a little bit better than SSG at times. And I think when Optic look at their opposition and they look at how they try and strategize, sometimes they find the best way is by employing a strategy that works very similarly, as now TriPPPeY has that heat wave, gets the double. 38 to 38 though. Nothing to split the two. As I say that, SSG put 2 quick kills, find themselves ahead once more. Every time you think one of these squads is going to take an advantage, start to roll with it, the other team comes swooping on back in with big kills.
What can StelluR do? Picks up 1. That's good enough for now. As they hold a slender lead once more. Bound elsewhere has gotten a kill on the Lucid. Numbers advantage. They flood into the base. TriPPPeY tries to get out of there and fails. Killing spree for SSGesus.
16 kills for StelluR, and he is...
Did I get you there, Dan?
You did. That tickled me. He's doing what he always does here on Aquarius, just marauding around the map, searching for his next enemy. Ear to the floor and listening to those call-outs, waiting for just a couple of bullets to be put into one of the Optic members, and then he pounces. But at the moment, he's just very aware that that camouflage is coming up, and he realizes that he could be the one who has to go for it, so he's just keeping within touching distance. 46, make it 47 now, and suddenly it's only 3 kills. Make it 2 for Space Station.
SSG absolutely rolling, moving up through the gears. There was a very subtle Optic gaming, let's go Optic chant that started to murmur around here, but it's very quickly being quietened down as the SSG boys find some form. Bound, camouflage, cloaked. He's the one to make the play, to do the initial damage here. StelluR falls. That could be an opportunity as Lucid backs away. Couple of steps into his own. Back base, back whack comes through. Bound looking for one more. Can't connect. But they do finally find it. We're all tied up here, 1-1.
And SSG just showed that they will not allow Optic to bully them at any point during the map. As soon as Optic had a lead, SSG just wrestled it back from them. They were quick off the spawn. They were constantly pressuring Optic in those areas, whether it be bottom middle, whether it be a fight over towards P. SSG always had an answer, and I think it was a bit frustrating for Optic Gaming. It wasn't the usual strategy we've seen from Optic. They were going for something a little bit different here or there, trying to match SSG blow for blow, but it didn't quite work out.
The frustrating thing for Optic there is every time they got themselves back into the game, they got leveled, they were maybe ahead by 1 or 2 kills. They couldn't sustain it, they couldn't push past it, and they allowed SSG back in the game.
Well, they weren't playing their game, I felt, Optic. Sometimes we've seen them go 2 or 3 kills up, and then suddenly they hold the line. They will hold the map, and they will say, you will not pass, you will not get out of a base, and they will just wait for teams to come to them at times. They instead were trying to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more proactive with how they wanted to approach the game, and SSG just lapped that up. They said, well, this is how we play the game. We know exactly how to counter this because teams have done it to us before, and SSG did have that answer. Extremely impressive, and it means we have got a hell of a series on our hands.
I have a question.
Do you have a question?
Are you saying that Optic Gaming strategy to Slayers, particularly, is that of Gandalf's? Is you will not pass?
Sometimes it is, and I think that Optic have often been criticised for their Slayers as well. It has happened where at certain tournaments, had they have maybe got that extra kill or 2, they might have been able to progress easier as they've gone through the tournament. Because objectives, they were flawless at times throughout the historic HCS of Halo Infinite. But their Slayers, you know, it's been hit or miss at times, and I think that SSG maybe take a little bit of advantage of that.
As you can see in your screens, highest damage is going to be Lucid to the green wall, and Eco for SSG. Both players having phenomenal tournaments. They lock horns here. And game number 3 is going to be Strongholds Recharge.
And I love what I saw from Eco as well. I mean, I said that I wanted to go into listening, I wanted to hear what he kind of had to say, whether he was calling the shots for the team, but often he was at the forefront of everything. He was the one doing the damage. He was the one going into the base first and making sure that he was initiating the damage so the rest of the team could collapse. But how many times did we see Optic Gaming as a 2 spawning separately and then just being collapsed on? That's what SSG do so well there on Aquarius.
Is that something we're starting to see from Eco now? You spoke about after Worlds, he said that one was on me. He's always known as being the IGL, but he's trying to modify his role a little bit more to be, instead of sitting at the back, we always talk about him having a top-down view of what's going on. He's like a UAV, similar to Formal actually, but he's now trying to play at the front, and that way he gets more information.
Well, I think that maybe he's not putting as much brain power towards what are my teammates doing, oh, they should be doing this. He's not worrying about his team, he's trusting his team a little bit more and instead focusing on what he should be doing as an individual to help his team achieve what he has set as a strategy. Because strategy should be, of course, talked about before the game, and of course it can be adapted to on the fly, but these guys know what they're doing. These guys have played this 100 times, 200 times, thousands of times at this point. It's just a matter of these kind of situations where you find yourselves in, where you're like, okay, well, we've never been in a 48, 46 versus Optic Gaming before. What's Formal going to do? What do I know of Formal? What has my research told me of where he's going to be? How can we counter that? Are we going to be able to catch Lucid maybe going for that heat wave? These are all the different thought processes that is going through Eco's mind. He just needs to be able to put that in the back of his head a little bit and also focus on his own gameplay.
And it was something we've seen actually. I remember Halo Esports released a video on YouTube actually that had team comms, and SSG, the start of the it was Cloud9 at the time, started the game where let's keep tabs on Lucid to call out exactly where he is at every given time, because they recognize just how much ability he has, and he can be the X factor for them.
Well, also, if you keep tabs on Lucid, you're probably going to find power weapons as well. You're going to find the weapons that are going to be very important for your success. So if you kill Lucid, you probably find a heat wave, you might find some dynamos. Just take him out of the game. And that's not to say that you can't see the same thing from APG, from Formal, from TriPPPeY. But Lucid, one of his priorities is trying to ensure that he is on top of that sandbox. And if you can take him out of the game, suddenly things get a little bit more difficult. And it was something that the desk were talking about. With the recent changes, with the sandbox maybe being restricted a little bit and more focus on the battle rifle, on the sniper rifle, rather so than some of the other weapons that were making an impact prior, maybe that reduces what Lucid could do a little bit in terms of the sandbox, but you have to say he's adapted so well. he's been a player who says, well, it doesn't matter what weapon you put in my hands, whether it's a commander, whether it's a battle rifle, whether it's a sniper rifle, I'm going to make it count.
Well, with the most recent changes and some things taking a little bit of a nerf, it only enhances what the power weapons were always supposed to be. The rockets have even more say in what way a game is going to swing, even more say in what way a power-up is going to be, is how the influence it's going to have on a game. And in fact, that's what players and teams have always prioritized, but now more than ever, even more so.
Well, game 3 is going to be Stronghold's Recharge. So in terms of power-ups, power weapons, we're going to be looking at the shock rifle coming into the fray, and of course, the camouflage is going to be there and available at the same time. Camo control was a bit iffy on Aquarius for me. Both teams were never really able to lock down multiple in a row. It was kind of back and forth. It was very bitty, but again, it just demonstrates how close these two teams are and why we're having such a good series on our hands. So far this tournament, Optic haven't won Stronghold's Recharge. However, on the flip side, SSG have found success. So if you're an SSG fan, I guess that's something to go off.
SSG, do they have what it takes to take the lead in this series? And what a statement that might be. And maybe some of those seeds of doubt might get a little bit of water from Optic Gaming. It's like, oh no, we're in trouble once again.
And usually I'd be talking about mentality and I'd be talking about, SSG maybe believe that because Optic have already shown weakness this event, that they're not going to be scared to go up against them. But at the same time, I know that SSG don't fear anyone. They never have. And I think that's what's really incredible about the mentality of some of the teams that we have at the top end of Halo Infinite is they will always go into every tournament thinking they are the best and they can win this tournament. And it's why we see so much disappointment at times when they fall second, when they finish third, or even top 6. But they won't make team changes because they know they still, next tournament, could have that right tournament where they suddenly find themselves back on the top of the pyramid.
That's something that we've seen as well, right? Because them and Optic were the only two teams after the World Championship Finals that didn't make that change. They believed that the initial one that they were forced into in Bound was the player that they needed. And as tournaments have progressed, he has gotten better and better and better. And you can see they're starting to flourish now. And they're starting to look like a real tough and top contender for Optic Gaming and FaZe, as we do now load into Stronghold's Aquarius. Or Stronghold's Recharge.
I mean, Stronghold's Aquarius would be a very interesting map, and maybe it's...
Can't imagine it'd be good.
No, it'll have to be something we'll talk about. But yeah, Stronghold's Recharge, SSG on top at the moment when it comes to momentum, but will Optic be able to show us what they're made of when they do get that structure on the go? It was Quadrant who were able to show Optic how to play this game type earlier on in this tournament, and SSG traditionally have been very good at also making sure they rotate accordingly. When they're holding those setups, they're going to make this very difficult for OG.
Have SSG done their homework and seen what Quadrant did to exploit some of the weaknesses in the game plan here? 3 dead. Go the green wall. The perfect start for SSG.
Well, Lucid, the last remaining player, has to at least do some damage. He's done more than that. He's been able to take Eco down to no shields, and off the spawn, 4 more helps out. And even though Space Station is scoring, Optic at least were able to push one back. So now they have the player advantage and they can start to think about how they want to take this one. But Bound says, screw your player advantage. I've got the shock rifle and the camouflage.
He's starting to boogie here. He got the sizzle rifle in his hand. Shocking TriPPPeY to his core. Just fried dust and a pair of boots left from where he once stood. Bound fires with another shot across the map. Nothing but a warning this time. StelluR plasma pistol holding down pipes, recognizing that Bound can have a massive influence on what way this game swings and if they hold the setup. But as we say that, StelluR has gone down. Bound will connect to the no shield APG. Can he find the face? Yes, he can. Absolutely cooking.
And this is the problem on live fire, is Bound was never able to really get his hands on that sniper rifle, but now here with the shock, he's showing why he's such an important fact to this team. Formal, the next one in his crosshair, isn't going to be testing himself. Instead, recognizes that actually the objective very important to play right now, but he is making life a living hell here for Optic Gaming.
You just know the confidence running through his veins there. He wanted to jump up and challenge that. Opted instead claim the points, and rightfully so. But Optic in the meantime control A and C. So perhaps Bound has to move, push out for his team. The SSG are about to get some pretty unusual spawns over towards pipes. Have to push out. Bound does step out. Eco goes down. All of a sudden, Optic starting to swing it their way with the triple cap.
Great positioning as well from TriPPPeY there, just knowing that he was going to get sent on, so he tries to go for a pretty obnoxious angle to hide behind, and he manages to catch him off guard. And now Optic did have total control temporarily, maybe something they learned from their loss previously in pool play. And when you do get that opportunity to take all 3 strongholds, you have to grab it because it can be so significant with the amount of time you can gather. Optic right back into this one despite the early dominance from SSG, and Space Station just have to try and stop this bleeding a little bit. As TriPPPeY takes the fight, and again, it's another big 1v1.
Optic really starting to step up the pace, push the envelope now, applying pressure, where previously they were a little bit more passive. A and C now in control. Do they want B as well? The 1v1, and Eco's going to lose that one. The TriPPPeY killing spree, double kill. Anything Bound can do, TriPPPeY can get frisky as well.
TriPPPeY just not missing in the moment. As Bound was the one who was stepping up for SSG, it seems like TriPPPeY was the one who wanted to light a fire. A, B, and C in control. Knows exactly where SSG are going to be spawning, so his job now is just to hold on to A, double check there's not going to be a push from control, and try and force almost SSG to go around towards Longhole and in towards Lucid sight lines, as there's going to be Lucid answering back to Bound saying, anything you can do, I can do better.
Members of SSG getting funneled towards Lucid. Pznguin goes down. He's out of his comfort zone up against the shock rifle and the battle rifle. Now he wishes he was back in the Antarctic. Eco, big trouble. Eliminated, Bound, bottom elevator, frantically pushing the button, trying to get out of there. But the elevator's out of service. StelluR though, on hand. And SSG survive and will look to start to control A.
A great period though from Optic Gaming with the amount of points they were able to score, and now they're flipping things over towards C. StelluR recognises it, so knows he has to at least contest B over here. You are very vulnerable if anyone does push pipes, but StelluR's there, ready and waiting. I don't know what ready means, but it's like ready break, I guess.
I think that's when you're waiting for the rabbit to come out. Bugs Bunny is around here somewhere. We're waiting for the wabbit. 114 to 84 though, SSG eating away at that lead. Formal goes down. Plasma pistol and camouflage combination. APG hooked away in the corner. Spotted out by the camouflage player. Can Pznguin survive? The answer's no this time, but the damage has been done as SSG close in on Optic Gaming.
It's of course a very different setup over here towards B and C. Just going to make sure, yeah, good from Eco to make sure no one's pushing bottom middle and sneaking behind. Maybe he's learned already once this series that APG can appear out of nowhere. Out of thin air it seemed. And now SSG take the lead again. So even though there was such a dominant period from Optic Gaming, the response from SSG has been phenomenal.
Neither of these teams willing to give up an inch. Fighting tooth and nail for every spot on the map. StelluR gets one. Formal answers back. Numbers advantage now favour SSG for the moment. It's time to go for Eco as he pushes towards B, faced with contention by TriPPPeY, who wins the fight once more. Big game players, TriPPPeY. But SSG continue to score for now. Optic looking to change that by transferring B. Pznguin jumps up and tries to spot out APG, but the gangster expertly dips his head away and ensures he will not be receiving any battle rifle fire at all. Now all of a sudden Pznguin's in big trouble down to no shields, and Formal applies the finishing touches to the damage done by Lucid.
He was in big trouble, but what he did was he distracted Optic for quite some time, which allowed SSG to then rotate around, make sure they have A and C, and they still have control of both. 138 to 123, Space Station still scoring, Optic have 2 dead. They have spawned over towards A though, and I think SSG knew that was a very big possibility from where they killed them, but StelluR waits patiently, waits in the wings, and now they have that player advantage. They can push up, try and take A.
Formal gives Pznguin the karate chop. StelluR, top A. Hunting TriPPPeY. Just about gets away, but StelluR hungry for him, hunting him down, and gets him. APG though will get that trade. A in control of SSG. They almost have B and 2 thanks to Eco here, but it's 3 dead for SSG, and Optic Gaming will be pretty happy with that.
Well, it's 3 dead, but what SSG did well was making sure they did solidify B there, because they're still going to be scoring. If they hadn't have got B, it was going to be a back and forth between A and C, and Optic would have consistently been able to score and just be on top of things watching those spawns. But now it puts the pressure on Optic, where they have to force themselves to either go for that same A and C setup or put themselves in a vulnerable position where they push over towards B. It's so difficult sometimes when you make that battery push. You can find 3 or 4 players go down. As I say that, Optic do lose 2. And Space Station on top once more.
What's the plan here for Optic Gaming then? APG positioned over towards Glass. Formal bottom tower backing Bound away. Immediately though, Bound looks to turn his attention to Glass, and APG who knows he has to make the cross, and APG needs his teammates on hand to do some damage if he's going to get away with this push, and he doesn't. It's defended expertly. SSG are holding ground here. Lucid manages to get one with the commando. And now here's the 1v1. It's a pivotal fight. But Bowen's run into two. He's got one. StelluR with the shock rifle. Formal gets connection, controls A, and immediately gets himself out of trouble.
Yeah, that was a great push from Optic, and they managed to just sneak up behind them, and as Pznguin goes down as well. 50 kills at the moment for Optic Gaming, only 45 for Space Station. So Optic are outslaying them, but they need to start putting some points on the board. This could come down to one big setup. If either team is able to get total control here, A, B, and C, it would really put a nail in the coffin for me, especially if it was SSG. But Camo's coming up, and you can see TriPPPeY there waiting, prioritizing, and will get to pop it as a reward. No one from SSG was in an area to watch over that one, and they clearly felt like they wanted to focus on the strongholds instead.
TriPPPeY gets one. Has to ensure he stays alive here. Cannot do so. How big will that pick be? 3 down for Optic Gaming. Pznguin's going to step inside B.
Here we go.
There's going to be one last twist. You can feel it, you can sense it with the way this tournament has gone. Pznguin clears out pipes, drops back down towards B now, and they could possibly lock in a triple cap if they can get A as well.
And notice how Pznguin really prioritized on finding that final player from Optic Gaming. Said, we don't need the stronghold just yet. We need to just clear this player out. We don't want any dodgy spawns. If we kill him, we guarantee the spawns over towards A, and then we can watch the angles. 3 are dead again for Optic Gaming, and SSG put themselves in a position where Optic, they have one last push here.
SSG require 15 more points. It's last chance for StelluR for Optic Gaming to claim this game. It's a triple cap locked in, and it's locked in tight. Will Optic Gaming be about to tap out, or can they get their foot inside B or A here? 3 go down, but we see Lucid standing in the hill. Can he be making the play? The clutch factor, he gets cleared out, and SSG will take the series lead.
And I said they were being outslayed when we were focusing on it about a few minutes ago, and then suddenly they just absolutely flipped the game on its head. 60 kills in the end for SSG, only 54 for Optic Gaming. And even when they were down, they were just playing the stronghold so much better, controlling A and B when they had to. And for me, the biggest twist in the game was when they had A and C, and Optic were just keeping them, were forcing them out of B, and SSG said, look, you know what, let's just bombard ourselves over towards that B stronghold, let's prioritize it, because even if we die, as long as we capture it, what do Optic do then? They have to go to either A or C, and as soon as they do, we spawn trap them, we keep them there, and we have the angles. And that was a big call from SSG.
Controlling that game, kept switching back and forth. But you felt as though when SSG did get that final hold, that was going to be the one that was going to do the most damage, and it was.
Well, often at times, the first team to really have the chance at setting up and winning in those final moments does usually follow through because of the pressure that's put on the opposition side, where you don't really have the time to think about how you're going to break that setup. It's a very quick, on-the-fly decision of, okay, let's go A, let's go C, and because of that, you usually fail. The angles are usually watched. And SSG have done it perfectly, and as you said, they take the lead in this series, and they're now one map away from being in that winner's bracket final against FaZe Clan. Semi-finals in the moment, Optic Gaming versus Space Station. SSG currently lead 2-1, going into map number 4, which is going to be King of the Hill Streets. We are told the lobby is just about ready, and we are locked and loaded as we just had a technical difficulty that was fixed by our wonderful admins that are backstage to make sure these players are playing in the most comfortable setting possible for competitive integrity, of course, shirts. Which way do you see this one going? Do you think this is SSG 3-1? Do you think the Optic are going to take us to a Game 5? Because we have seen a lot of Game 5s. As maybe you hold that thought.
I'm going to hold it.
As we're jumping into Game 4.
We have gameplay on our screen, folks. And if you're just joining us, like we say, SSG up 2-1. They win this next game, and they are in the winners' finals, facing off against FaZe Clan. But still have the very tough test of taking down Optic Gaming here and now. TriPPPeY with rockets, making sure it remains a difficult task. Gets 2 kills, all of the rockets bound, last man standing, but early engagement seemed to be favoring Optic, but just like that, roles reversed. Nobody really able to claim any significant time off the break.
Keep tabs on that Stalker rifle as well, because it's going to be very important for this game. And so is the Sentinel beam. It still rips through, but the grenades do the damage to the players that were in the hill. Bound is just on a tear at the moment. He's just running in a straight line at people because he knows he's not going to miss. Lucid trying to take control of the hill. And it's been very scrappy to open things up here because we've not really seen many moments where both 4 players on each team have been alive.
You're familiar with the term walking them down?
Yes.
In a boxing term.
Uh-huh.
Can we start to introduce the term walking them bound? Because he just strolls down bottom middle, almost doing the waltz, just battle rifling anything that moves. Eco gets shut down. Trade on hand though, 1v1, and Lucid does beat out Bound. And that will mean some points for Optic Gaming.
And even with the changes to the Disruptor, it's not quite enough for Bound to win that engagement against Lucid. Some players still picking the weapon up, some don't like to anymore, but it can still make a big difference in the right hands. And StelluR's going to have to back off away from this one. Optic are a man down, as I say that, it changes very quickly. And Lucid is a one-man army at the moment in Arcade. He's got so many coins, he can stay there all night.
Posts up, gets ready. The next onslaught the SSG are going to throw at him. SSG really struggling to maintain any numbers advantage they have. They have scooped up rockets, Bounce fire 2, connected with absolutely nobody. StelluR picks up 1 elsewhere, Pznguin 2. It's 2 dead apiece, but most importantly it's APG in the hill.
Yeah, I think they were just panic rockets if anything, but it did temporarily distract Optic Gaming, but they were still able to hold that hill. All the meanwhile, Space Station off spawn now will gain hill, and for all the credit I was giving them about breaking setups quickly, it has taken them a little longer than usual, but now it's whether they can hold this setup and pin Optic back. Optic are in PD, StelluR misses the shots, and Lucid should have never got away with winning that one.
How big could that be? Not only does the kill go their way, but a
my.
Bulldog, and it's Optic Gaming winning every single pivotal. All 4 dead, and Optic go up 1-0.
And now they should just be able to comfortably transition over towards Station, but there is a sneaky StelluR in the vicinity, but he's quickly sniffed out and taken down. And now Space Station are going to have to try and wrestle their way back from spawn to try and take the station off of Optic Gaming. The fact that we've got the Bulldog with 2 bullets means that Lucid has some freedom to go for a flank here. Doesn't even need the Bulldog.
Bulldog dropped. Did he get a chance to bark nor bite? StelluR backs away, picks up 2 to fade away. Formal goes down. They have control, and who else would be in the hill if not APG once more? Always making sure he's in the right place at the right time, recognizing, reading the game perfectly, stepping out and inviting the pressure on.
Space Station all push up together on the same side, and Optic are well aware of it, so they just need to not leave themselves too vulnerable to grenades. Do Space Station need to separate ever so slightly, as Bound's going to be the one who initiates the damage, but he is followed very closely by Eco as Bound gets a little bit too aggressive. And it means that Eco, though, can follow up, and that's exactly what Bound needed. I said too aggressive, I take it back. It was the perfect amount of aggression.
Expertly played then. Rockets up soon. StelluR scoops them up. Tries to get away. 1 rocket left in the chamber. Bound looks to ensure they don't fall into an Optic Gaming player's hands here. Eco goes down. Oh, excuse me, Eco gets a kill onto Lucid. Rocket still down. Pznguin might have just scooped him up there and has used that last final rocket onto Formal. And Eco starting to score for SSG.
Rockets around, but Stalker is up. And if SSG have been keeping tabs on it from death screens, they should know that. So it wouldn't surprise me if they score right now, but it's the challenge from Lucid to take Eco down, not able to get over the final little slither. And it means Optic Gaming have another chance to steal this one away from SSG, and if they also get that Stalker, it's going to be tough for Space Station off spawn. Pznguin's going to be the first player to push in.
Pznguin trying to clear out Tram, making sure he's checking off the game's tickets. Eco steps in, trying to prioritize the time. Formal forced to give it up, trying to scamper away out towards garbage. Eco is in hot pursuit, got 1, but gets traded out. Bulldog from Bound will secure 1. Hill's now bottom middle.
He's just wondering where that Stalker is, and he does eventually find it. I think he was a little bit perplexed as to where it had fallen on the map. But now he can put this to use. Plenty of ammo to work with as well, but Lucid was well aware where he was going to be pushing around that corner. It's a good trade, and again, that needs to be called out. Get that Stalker in one of your players' hands. Because now we've got the interesting, fun, bottom-middle hill. And of course, with the changes, it's now a little bit easier to hide behind a nook and cranny, so you're not as vulnerable to bullets off of spawners or anyone who wants to hold tower or over towards C. And of course, grenades can still do big things here to this bottom middle hill.
Formal trying to survive on benches. Bound back over towards Generator and Cafe. Lovely shots from Bound again. So fluid in his movements at the moment. Confidence flowing through his veins. TriPPPeY stands him up, faces him up, fancies the fight, does TriPPPeY, and you can see why. But all this time, that tricky Penguin gets taken out of the hill, but not before securing significant progress for his team.
Only 2 kills separating the teams at the moment. That's how close this thing is. It's Space Station who are a little closer to, of course, securing the next point, as Formal does not miss with his rocket. Very well placed, just right under the boot of his enemy. And now he's just a little bit concerned about where SSG are. It suddenly went a little bit quiet because they know full well there are rockets waiting in the wings, doesn't connect with the second. And SSG are playing this one patient because they have such a significant lead in this one. They want to be able to take down several members of Optic first before they start thinking about scoring this hill.
As every second dwindles by, if they do secure this hill, it's less time for Optic to get themselves back into the game. Quite happy to play this one patient. Play Slayer for a moment or two. StelluR gets a pick. Lucid answers back with that stalker rifle. It can be so big in swinging a game for your team, particularly when it's in the hands of that man. But Pznguin again ensures he secures the hill for his team, and SSG take the lead.
And quite rightly, you pointed out the clock, because 1:30 means it's going to be time against Optic Gaming here. With SSG having a 2-1 lead, let's jump into a listening and see what the comms are like.
Right now. Watch your cross.
Look at back tower.
There's 2 PD, 2 PD. Wake up.
Guys, stock down.
2 dead end, 2 dead end.
Stock down.
Watch that tower, watch that tower. There's a guy in B. I kill hill, I think.
Stock down.
Agent weak trippy. Agent kind of weak trippy.
You guys, cafe. One shot agent.
2 cafe, yep.
We need to stay alive here. For you to help.
Good job.
One hill, 2 cafe.
Overshield.
Rockets now.
APG's weak in hill. You get out. Play rockets.
Ground shotty.
Shotty's also up.
And you should cross the cafe. We should cross the cafe or
Shotty
something.
beacon, B stairs. You want shotty?
They have rockets.
Watch out, B. Nice, 2 dead.
Nice.
Rockets in there.
Go on bottom in. Top tower.
Agent trying to go cap. Get a go first.
Bottom in.
Agent one shot.
ATM blinking with the rocket. He has a rocket in ATM. ATM with rocket. Nice. Down, don't dive. Down. Can you live down?
Bricks killed me, guys.
Yeah, we should kill it hill if we can.
One shot bricks.
Back tower.
Dropping.
Weak bottom tower. One shot bottom tower.
B side.
Don't give me a lead. You're gonna get hill. And then weak to
So SSG prioritised the rockets over the hill, and they've all but given it up here. Optic Gaming so close to tying it up, but not quite there. 40 seconds on the clock. This is still entirely winnable purely via time here for SSG, and that could definitely be the decision they make.
Lucid trying to hide, stay alive. Unsuccessful. TriPPPeY gets one though. Bulldog looking to clear out the arcade. It's off the leash. APG goes down. And maybe some desperation on the side of Optic, as you can see. SSG are prioritising just keeping Optic Gaming out of the hill.
Well, Optic just need to step their foot in it. They are so close, but they need some kills to do it first. They need one last desperate push, as here comes TriPPPeY. He hasn't got the help though, and Eco takes him down, and suddenly it's only 5 seconds.
One more second and APG steps in, but it's not going to be enough. And SSG claim victory, claim the scalp of the world champions, and they're going to winners finals.
They gave up on the hill, they went for the rockets, they played the time perfectly. And Optic could just not crack that final setup.